Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started here in just a couple of minutes. Right at the half hour here, we'll get started and try to make this as to the point and concise as possible. Just a couple of things. If you have any questions, make sure and comment in the section below so that way we can answer these questions as we go throughout the evening tonight. As always, if you have questions that we're not able to get to, just make sure and send us a message or reach out to us, and we'll make sure to answer those questions for you. But otherwise, we will get started here in just a couple of minutes. All right, well let's get started. So we're gonna dive into little nutrition 101 tonight. I could literally spend probably a couple of hours dissecting this topic, and so I'm going to try and do my best to keep it very surface level. As again, like I said, we could really spend a couple of hours on this, and so there's three things that we're going to kind of talk about tonight, kind of the three dangers, if you will: sugar, fat, and toxins. So the first one is sugar. The big thing here is that we want to talk about is sugar makes you fat. That's what your body stores. Any excess sugar, it stores it as fat. So you can see really our bodies function with only 1 to 2 teaspoons of sugar in the bloodstream. That's really all our body needs to function. And anything more than that, your body will store it as fat and can have a lot of detrimental health effects to it. Like I said, your body is smart and knows what to do, and so because if there is too much sugar in the bloodstream, your body takes it out of the bloodstream and stores it as fat, so that way you're not at risk to any serious complications or even death. And so your body knows what to do; it stores this excess sugar as fat. The average American consumes 152 pounds of sugar per year. I mean, that is absolutely crazy. And that's from anywhere from the things that we're eating, things that we eat that turn into sugar, to sugary drinks. I mean, 152 pounds a year, that's like an entire person, which is absolutely crazy. Sugar is literally in everything, it's laced in all of our foods, and we'll kind of dive into that. A lot of different names for sugar as well that we'll touch on. Next is fat. Um, there's a myth out there that fat makes you fat, and really the truth is that fat does not make you fat. It's really your body's ability to burn fat that makes you fat, or inability to burn fat that makes you fat. Fat is actually really good for you. It's essential. You need fat. Um, Fat is very, very important. Majority of your brain is fat. And we'll dive into a little bit of kind of some cells and why cells are important and how they require fat as well. Touching on that, there's really 6 things that are essential for every cell. 22 amino acids, antioxidants, fatty acids, which is those fats, live enzymes, vitamins, and then minerals and trace minerals. So these are really the 6 essential things that every cell in your body need to function. So talking about fats or essential fatty acids, they make up the cell walls. Um, this is what kind of allows things to move in and out of your cells of your body, and you want to make sure that those cells have good essential fatty acids to make up what's called a lipid bilayer. So it's 2 layers of fat around each cell. So if there isn't enough essential fatty acids, oxygen gets restricted, and then that cell can become cancerous. The cell wall needs essential fatty acids so that oxygen and nutrients can enter the cell and create that healthy cell. So if it's not healthy, it's going to keep that oxygen out, which could turn that cell to cancerous. So here's essential fatty acids. You want good fat ratio, 2 to 1. Bad fats on the outside causes inflammation. So if you have bad fat, it's going to cause a lot of inflammation, and inflammation is really at the heart of almost all conditions and illnesses that we know of today. Inflammation runs rampant. A lot of people are inflamed. When the cell's inflamed, bad stuff can't get out. So those toxins, that all of those kind of mechanisms inside the cell are working to produce energy and making your body function, they're going to create toxins, and those toxins need to be able to get out of that cell. And so if those cells are surrounded in bad fat, those toxins stay in, and then as you can see on the right hand here, oxygen, amino acids, all these good things that we want to get into the cell can't get in. So healthy fats, they help lower your inflammation, increases energy level, increases immune function and resistance to illness. So it helps fight things like heart disease, cancer, depression, Alzheimer's, arthritis, diabetes, hypertension. It regulates and makes up the building blocks of hormones. So you can see that fat is extremely important with regards to normal cell function and health in general. Bad fats, so hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated oils. This is kind of the first thing where we get into kinds of some do's and don'ts. Cottonseed, soybean, and vegetable oils. Don't use them. Trans fats, margarines, and synthetic butters. And then rancid oils or corn oil or canola oil. Or those, again, simply labeled vegetable oil. So those are really found in almost every bread, cracker, cookie, or boxed food. Canola, it really isn't, it's nothing. It's just a made up oil. There's no such thing as a canola plant. So these are bad fats. These are going to be things you're going to want to look at to stay away from. Healthy fats, can find these in many different foods and things like that. Olive oil is a great oil, or coconut oil. Those are great oils to use to cook. If you're going to cook at higher temperatures, you're going to want to make sure to use coconut oil. If you're cooking with olive oil and you start to see olive oil smoking, that means the temperature is too hot, and that will then make that olive oil rancid. Fish oil, obviously really good. Hemp seed oil, avocados or avocado oil, nuts, seeds, again, coconut, flax or flax oil. Real butter is actually good for you. Some raw cheese and yogurts, grass-fed meats, eggs, whole food, and then fatty fish, wild caught salmon, halibut, those kinds of things. Making sure that they're wild caught. Again, this is where we could really dive into things much, much deeper. So if you have questions, again, just as a reminder, make sure you ask those questions. This was kind of a cool little experiment, putting 3 different kinds of butters or spreads in a dish and seeing where the ants go to. And I'm sure, as you can maybe deduce, the actual butter is the one that the ants are flocking to. So the margarines and the spreads, those fake things that have a ton of chemicals in them, those ants don't want it. So it's really simple. If an ant wants it, because the ant is going to go for the nutrients, or the thing that has the nutrients in it, and so it's going towards the real butter. I'd encourage you to do an experiment like this. And then last thing is toxins. Kind of frankenfood. So the FDA has approved 3,000 artificial food additives, preservatives, and colors. Again, kind of going along with the sugar in the first slide, right? The average person ingests about 140, 150 of additives every year. Again, this is stuff that's just crazy rampant in our food. It's insane. We could really dive into toxicity as a subject on its own. I really won't, but just toxicity is something that you're never going to be able to 100% completely eliminate. You have to minimize them. And it's in everything. Our household cleaners, our makeups, our personal care products, those kinds of things. They're all over in terms of our environment. So we have to really be making sure that we're keeping healthy cells, that way we can properly detox our bodies. Here's a Burger King strawberry milkshake, and the actual ingredients of it. I don't know about you, but I can probably hardly pronounce probably all of those, or a good chunk of those names. But the thing is, there's no strawberries and there's no milk in this. So these are the kinds of things that we're consuming as Americans. Lunchables, they might think that it's a good option for the kids. You flip it around and look at the ingredients list, and the ingredients list is extremely long. Again, with different additives, preservatives, and things that we just don't need in our bodies to function. So kind of diving into nutrition and how to be a good shopper, because that's where it really all starts, is shopping and prepping, if you will. You'll see, at the very bottom there, coming prepared, have a list and use it. So and I highly encourage you to, create a menu for the week, and write down those items that you need, coming prepared and having the list of things that you need. Schedule your shopping. Don't leave it to chance. I've been guilty, just like probably everybody else has, going shopping when you're hungry, and getting a ton of stuff that you don't need, and then just plan to take the time you need in the store, so that way you're not rushed. Quality should always be the number one priority. Label reading do's, again, look for minimal ingredients. So kind of going back to the Lunchable or the fake strawberry milkshake. Looking for minimal ingredients. That was a huge ingredients list on something like that. So obviously the less is better. There's a reason why fruits and vegetables do not have labels on them, because they are what they are. There is no ingredients label for a banana or an apple or or for kale. Those things don't need labels, because they are what they are. Looking for natural ingredients, or if you can't pronounce it, it's probably not good for you. So again, going back to that, if you can't pronounce something on a label, it's probably not going to be good for you. Buying more foods without any labels at all. So again, those fruits and vegetables, and then looking at the labels that you're buying, or the food that you're buying. If you're in the grocery store and something has a longer shelf life than you do a life expectancy, it's probably not good to put into your body. So you can see here, this is Arrowhead Mills. It's a great brand, organic chunky peanut butter. And you look at the ingredients. It's organic roasted unblanched Valencia peanuts, and then may contain 0.5% or less of the following. So that's a good example of a food that's has very, very little ingredients in it, but it is what it says it is. I would encourage you to maybe do a little challenge and walk to your pantry and take out a Jiffy or whatever kind of peanut butter, and look at the ingredients list and see if it's this short. So the label reading don'ts, kind of worrying about ingredient types more than the amounts. So the carbs, grams, your body can more efficiently and effectively digest and absorb natural occurring foods rather than those preservatives, things like that. Really beware of questionable marketing. This is a huge thing. Again, another rabbit hole that we could really dive into. But just because something says organic on it or all natural does not mean that it's always organic or all natural. There's kind of some funny spoof videos out there on YouTube that really kind of talk about this, how companies will put all natural or organic on a package just as a marketing ploy, really. And then just kind of some items to not to avoid and to not buy when you see them on the label is MSG, monosodium glutamate. Very, very lot of research on the negative effects of monosodium glutamate. Artificial sweeteners, so sucralose, aspartame. Those are in things like diet sodas, hydrogenated or partially hydrogenated oils, refined flour, and then any additives, colors, preservatives, chemicals, those things. So you would look at this sausage patty. You would think that it's a veggie sausage patty, that it's a healthy food, right? And then you turn around and you look at the ingredients list, and it's got a whole host of things on here. You can see that some of them you might not be able to pronounce. The hydrolyzed vegetable protein, maltodextrin, that's another name for sugar. A lot of different additives and preservatives in here. Sunflower oil, there's sugar. I mean, it's just crazy. Again, it's kind of some quick tips and ideas. Keep your basics stocked. So look for staple items in bulk. Save money by obviously cooking at home. The best is going to be if you can cook with fresh foods. The next best is going to be frozen, and then kind of your least desirable is those canned things. Animal products are the most important to be organic. So kind of that Dirty Dozen, Clean 15. I have a slide on this, but if you don't know what the Dirty Dozen or the Clean 15 is, the Dirty Dozen is a list of produce, fruits and vegetables that you should buy organic because they are, even if they are labeled organic, they are still subject to pesticides, herbicides, insecticides, things like that. But the reason why the Dirty Dozen is a list that you need to buy organic is because those are generally things that do not have a peel. So things like blueberries are on there. Things that don't have a peel when you eat it. So something that would be on what's called the Clean 15 that you can buy more conventional would be like an orange or a banana because those have a peel, so they can have kind of a protective layer, so to say, from any chemicals that may be used on those products. Same thing with animal products, obviously, knowing where your proteins are coming from. Again, trying to source products as local as possible. Grow what you can on your own if possible, too. So kind of just top 10 toxic foods. So you can see here a list of foods that can be extremely toxic because of the things that they put in them. Salad dressings, candy, deli packaged meat, white bread, sprayed produce, margarine, diet soda drinks, GMO foods, commercial dairy, and then seasoned packaged foods. I'm not going to really dive much into this in terms of what each of these have, but I mean, these are all just filled with additives, dyes, bad fats, MSG, preservatives, you know, deli packaged meat. I guarantee you, if you went to the grocery store and you looked at that section, almost every single one of those has sugar in them. They're just poor quality commercial products. Bread, crackers, things like that. Those are going to be things that will immediately turn to sugar as soon as they hit your tongue or your mouth, rather. So those are going to be things that you're going to want to avoid as well. There's a lot of good bread alternatives out there. Again, sprayed produce. I mean, there's just a lot of research that, I mean, you can, Google Monsanto and all the lawsuits and things like that. The Roundup that's now linked to cancer and all these lawsuits and settlements that are going on. I mean, it's just absolutely crazy. Like I said, this is a rabbit hole that we could really dive into. Here's that Clean 15 Dirty Dozen that I was talking about. I don't know. There might be a more updated list. So, but if you just go on, don't necessarily take this for face value, I guess. But if you literally get on Google and you type in Clean 15 Dirty Dozen, it's gonna populate a list of what you should buy organic versus what you should buy conventional. Again, generally speaking, Clean 15 is what you can buy conventional, and then you're going to want to buy the Dirty Dozen organic. Margarine, again, just use butter. Different additives, colors, causes inflammations, toxic to your cell. Again, just remember what the ants like, right? Soda, I mean, this is a big one for a lot of people. If you can cut this out of your life, I mean, it's going to make a world of difference. Even if you can just get rid of these sugary drinks, it's gonna dramatically change how you're feeling, how your body functions, probably give you some weight loss, just a whole host of things. The genetically modified foods, so crops, soybeans, and corns, things like that. These are all genetically modified. There's a lot. Again, this is another rabbit hole we could go down. I actually just watched a documentary the other day, talking about our soil and talking a little bit about global warming and pollution and carbon and all this stuff, and really the genetically modified foods has really taken a toll on our produce. And they talk a lot about what's called regenerative farming, which is not only going to help give you better quality foods, but it's going to help the environment as well. Again, that's just a topic that we could really dive into. But again, you can see the American Academy of Environmental Medicine states several animal studies indicated serious health risks associated with GM, genetically modified foods, infertility, immune problems, accelerated aging, faulty insulin regulation, and changes in major organs and the GI system. So just stay away from it. Commercial dairy is very congestive in nature. Definitely do organic and raw if you can. But really, I just highly recommend staying away from dairy. To be honest, it's really not good for you. Um, and then when we talk about seasoned packaged foods, right, things like this, just the pastas, the rice mixes, the soups, snacky chips, those types of things. Um, just kind of the 10 alternatives for these things. Make your own salad dressing. Um, kick the sugar habit with the candy. Find clean sources of meat. Get whole sprouted or stone ground. That's for bread. So find those words on your bread. So like Ezekiel bread is a good bread that's sprouted, stone ground. Again, those spray produce, the Clean 15 Dirty Dozen, margarine. Again, using butter and olive oil. Your drinks, you can do water. Infuse your water with lemon or different fruits and things like that, like mint, all those good things. Stick to all natural foods. Stay away from the GMO and then the commercial dairy. Make sure you're doing raw, organic, and then organic and natural alternatives to those packaged foods. So that's all I have for you guys. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to us. Again, either in the comment section or once this is done, you can leave a comment in there and we can get back to you. Send us a message through Facebook, either way. And otherwise, thank you guys so much for tuning in this evening. Tried to keep it short and sweet, which I think I did. Again, this is a very, very deep topic. If you have more questions to this, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you guys so much, and we will talk to you later.